Ladies and gentlemen, at long last, we finally have the kit for Darth Kevin.
Kevin!
What's up, everybody? Welcome back. We finally have the kit for Darth Kevin, and oh my goodness, he looks stupidly powerful. He gets a new faction tag with Sith Empire, synergies with just Sith Empire characters, and he tears apart enemy leaders, and he brings new debuffs to the table, Fear and Ferocity, though you could argue Basilev fought, but you could argue Hot Topic Basilev brought that first. But anyways, the important thing to note here is that he's all about the Sith Empire. You're going to see here in his kit that his synergies are exclusively with Sith Empire. So if you do bring in regular Sith characters like Darth Treo or the Trio, people really wanted to bring those characters in, you're going to lose some great bonuses to your team overall and really kind of punish your team. So you do want to run a full Sith Empire team, but we'll talk about that in his kit. Now, his description is going to be a ruthless Sith Lord that is extremely effective at taking down the enemy leader. And we're going to his first basic called Lacerate. Deal special damage to the target enemy, inflict buff immunity on the target enemy and enemy leader for 2 turns. If the target is the leader, reduce Darth Revan's cooldowns by 1. So it's a win-win situation here. You either target the leader with his basic, reduce his cooldowns, or you target someone else and 2 characters get buff immunity. Either way, you get some nice bonuses here, so it's really all about what you're looking for. His special for Storm, 3-turn cooldown, deal special damage to all enemies and shock them for 2 turns. All Sith Empire allies gain 5 stacks of Ferocity for 2 turns. This attack cannot be evaded. Ferocity is a new debuff going into the game here, minus 15% defense and tenacity per stack, plus 8% offense and potency per stack, cannot be copied. So you're going to use his ability pretty much as his opener, and he's going to make your team very squishy, but he's also going to really boost their damage. And this means that your team is going to become a bit of a glass cannon in this manner. You're not going to have a lot of good defense, but you are going to absolutely destroy the enemy team because you're handing out so much bonus damage with these Ferocity stacks. Now, one other thing to note here is his special also applies shock to the enemy team. It can't be evaded, but it can be resisted. But if he applies that shock to the enemy team, you can follow up with Fallen Basilev and her special Wild Lightning, where if the target enemy has shock, it deals special damage to the entire enemy team. So there's some great synergies here with shock for Hot Topic Basilev. You could also probably work in Palpatine, but again, running some Sith that aren't part of the Empire, not really a good thing to run here. So some great synergy there with Shock and Fallen Basilev. Moving on to his second special, Insanity, 4-turn cooldown. Deal special damage to the target enemy, inflict fear on them and the enemy leader for 1 turn. If the target is the leader, or if the leader is defeated, inflict fear on all enemies for 1 turn. This fear cannot be copied, dispelled, or resisted, and this attack cannot be evaded. Man, so you can pretty much target the leader, use this special, put fear on the entire enemy team, and fear is a fantastic debuff because it basically works as a stun and an isolate altogether. The target misses their next turn, they can't use abilities, and they cannot evade. Increase cooldowns by 1, and fear expires upon taking damage from an attack. So you can target the leader, put fear on the entire enemy team, and they can't resist it and they can't evade it. And this is also going to work into HK47's kit with his special, the Assassination Protocol with a 9-turn cooldown, but it automatically loses 1 turn on its cooldown whenever an enemy is inflicted with fear. So you inflict 5 enemies with fear, that should take 5 turns off his cooldown. At least I'm assuming that's how it works. We'll see if that's actually how it translates. It could just only be 1 cooldown taken off, but we'll see how it goes. Either way, this ability really synergizes with HK47, so much like the first special synergizes with Hot Topic Basilev, the second special for Darth Revan synergizes with HK47, not to mention with Assassination Protocol, he can then use his ability on someone that has Fear or Death Mark, which we'll talk about Death Mark here in a moment, and it automatically resets the ability cooldown for Assassination Protocol. So you're seeing some great abilities, but it's also really interesting because it's building off the synergy coming from Fallen Basilev and HK47 at the same time. He's helping to build them up too, and that I think is a really cool thing to note about this kit. You didn't really see that so much with Jedi Revan, where he did get some nice bonuses, but you didn't see something that directly built off of kits of other characters that made him that much stronger with something directly like this. So we are moving on to his leadership, Lord of the Sith. Final text with a Zeta. Sith Empire allies are immune to turn meter reduction while they are debuffed, and they gain 10% crit chance and 15 speed for each of their own debuffs. At the start of each Sith Empire ally's turn, they gain 5 stacks of ferocity for 2 turns. At the start of battle, if all allies are Sith Empire, they have 50% bonus crit damage, and at the end of each turn, if an enemy fell below 50% health during that turn, inflict Deathmark on the enemy leader for 1 turn, which cannot be copied, dispelled, evaded, or resisted. Wow. First off, can we just appreciate how the fact that this leadership is not a freaking encyclopedia that was like Jedi Revan's leadership ability? They've really shortened it down, but they've made it incredibly powerful. I mean, you go and look at the leadership for Jedi Revan, and I mean, you're talking a freaking, you're gonna need a whole night to just read through his leadership. It's a very hefty, wordy leadership, and it just keeps going. But with this leadership, it's a lot more condensed, but it's just as powerful. So here's what's going to happen. You're gonna get ferocity on your team with Revan Special. With that ferocity, there's 5 stacks of it. If I'm reading this correctly, you're going to get 50% crit chance and 75 bonus speed right away with those stacks. It could just be 5 stacks translates to 1 debuff, so it could just be 10% and 15. Either way, the fact that you're using a lot of ferocity on this team, there's going to be a lot of debuffs flying around. You're going to get a lot of bonuses with this team. You're going to get high crit chance, high speed team with this, with the glass cannon build. It's a fast and hard team that could easily be defeated if things don't roll your way. At the start of the battle, you know, you're going to get that 50% crit damage, which synergizes with the 10% crit chance. And note, it's only if all your allies are Sith Empire. This is why you didn't want to bring Sith enemies or Sith allies with you if they are not part of the Empire, because you're not going to get that 50% crit damage, so you could overall punish your team, but you could argue, you know, Palpatine has great synergy with the Shock, Traya can cleanse debuffs on your team, but one other thing to note here, ferocity looks like it can be dispelled. I don't see anything saying it can't be dispelled, it just can't be copied. So the question is, do you really want to bring Traya, because Traya can cleanse ferocity, but then you lose the powerhouse that is your Sith team, so is it really worth it? And at the same time, every stack that she cleanses of ferocity, that's 5% health taken off your Sith team, so she's going to constantly be cleansing that ferocity off your team. That's going to do a lot of damage to your Sith team. I don't think Traya is going to be a great character to bring into a Darth Revan team because of that unique Zeta. Now, if you don't have that Zeta on her unique, you could probably argue for having her be in here, but let's be honest, most people who run Darth Traya or use her have that Zeta unique on her, and it's not going to be something that you want to bring. So this is why I don't think Darth Traya is a great character to bring here. It's going to hurt the team overall, you'll lose the leadership synergies up front, and she's just going to constantly drain your team. So I don't think Traya is going to work here, and that's why I think Sith Empire is who you want to run here. It just makes too much sense to bring Sith Empire here, because you're going to punish your team overall. Now, with this also, we got to talk about the Death Mark. If an enemy falls below 50% health, inflict Death Mark. I was originally worried that he was going to have a direct focus ability like Jedi Revan that would apply Death Mark, and that seems stupidly overpowered. I was really worried about it. Thankfully, they don't have that here, and you can see that this Death Mark can only be applied if the enemy falls below 50% health, and it only applies to the enemy leader. So once the enemy leader is gone, you can't apply that Death Mark anymore. So there are limitations to this leadership with that Death Mark, but do also keep in mind they have changed priorities too. So if someone has taunt and you take them down below 50% health, then the leader gets Death Mark. That allows you to finish off the leader and go ahead and pick him off and then finish off the rest of the team. There is a lot to break down here, and I could do a 30-minute video, I feel like, or just a live stream talking about all of this. There's a lot to break down with this kit, and it's complicated, it's complex, and that is a bad thing to most people because it means there's a lot to wrap your head around. And we haven't even gotten to the 2 uniques yet on him that both have Zetas. There's a lot to figure out with this kit, and this is going to be fun for the next few days. But enough of me preaching here. Let's move on to his uniques. I'm getting excited, and oh man, I've got a busy night tonight. So, unique 1, Conqueror. Zeta, Darth Revan has plus 100% defense penetration. At the start of each Sith Empire's allies, dispel all foresight on all enemies, which can't be evaded. Again, more Sith Empire full synergy. And when a Sith Empire ally is inflicted with ability block or stun, dispel that debuff and gain ferocity for 2 turns. So, again, you bring in regular Sith, they're not going to be able to cleanse the ability block or stun. And also, this brings up the fact that you cannot use crowd control really well on the Darth Revan team. You can't stun them unless you get an ability block or stun in the game, which is permanent and can't be dispelled, which I'm pretty sure we don't have that at this point in this game. I'm sure someone in the comments after 5 seconds of watching this video, or 5 seconds after this video is going to go live, is going to tell me we do have, in fact, a undispellable ability block or stun in the game. But for now, you can't. Unless it can't be dispelled, they're going to dispel that, and they give themselves ferocity at the same time. Enemies can't assist or gain bonus moves if their target is attacking if their attack is targeting Darth Revan. So, if you try to go straight for Darth Revan, you can't call enemies to assist, and you can't do bonus moves. You can't do like a double or triple tap, I believe. So it's really gonna hurt enemy teams if they try to go straight for Darth Revan. And his second unique villain with a Zeta 2, Darth Revan uses an ability during their turn if the selected target is already afflicted with Deathmark, Fear, or Corrupted Battle Meditation. Revan immediately uses Lacerate. When Fear expires on an enemy, they dispel all buffs on themselves, and when Darth Revan's health falls below 50%, is equalized with the other healthiest allies. Okay, so let's start with the Fear. You're going to put Fear unresistible on the Jedi team. At that point, you're then going to put Fear on the enemy team, and once that Fear dispels, cleanses all buffs from them. So if Yoda goes crazy and does his battle meditation, you can use Fear, counter it, and remove all the buffs from the enemy team. You also have the falling below 50% health. It equalizes with the other healthiest ally, which if you're running a tank, Sith Trooper, or Darth Malak when he comes here soon, hopefully, you're going to automatically equalize with him usually. And we're going to talk about his abilities and using Lacerate following up right away. There's Deathmark, Fear, and Corrupted Battle Meditation. Corrupted Battle Meditation, anytime the Fallen Bastila moves, she puts out Corrupted Battle Meditation on the enemy team, and it can't be dispelled. So that means once she moves, and you can land that with her bonus potency and everything, she is going to go ahead and she's going to put Corrupted Battle Meditation on the enemy team, and then he's going to use specials, and he is just going to follow the Lacerate everywhere. I mean, you can, oh my gosh, it all folds back in on itself. Like, sorry, I've only read the kit a couple of times, and as I'm going through this kit again, I'm slowly realizing more stuff. I've been very busy at work today. I haven't really had time to look and break this down. I'm really getting my first in-depth look at it overall, so I'm kind of reacting to it here at the same time. So here's what's going to happen. Fallen Bastila is going to put Corrupted Battle Meditation on the enemy team. You're then going to use Insanity on the enemy leader. You're going to put Fear on the entire enemy team, at which point, with the special villain, he is then going to use Lacerate, which will then reduce his cooldowns by 1 because you're targeting the enemy leader, and he's going to use his basic Lacerate, reduce his enemy cooldown, or reduce his cooldowns, and then you're just going to have things happen that much faster. Oh my goodness, this is a great kit. Oh man, this kit is insane. It's insanely strong, and it's terrifying power creep. But at the same time, you have to admire the sheer power going on with this team and just how crazy it's going to be. So obviously you are going to use Fallen Bastila, HK-47, and Darth Revan all on the same team. There's no doubt about that. So you're going to have questions of who you can fit into those 4th and 5th slots. And, you know, they do note here in this GIF that there's unique synergies with Hot Topic Bastila and HK-47, obviously. And then you have the 3 generic Sith characters. And, I mean, we can go back through them again. Already speculated on them last night. Sith Marauder is going to become a powerhouse. Crap loads of offense, crit chance, and potency. Sith Trooper, he's going to be your tank, and you can pretty much keep him don't really want to stack defense on him, but really stack up protection and health on him. And Sith Assassin, she can stun the enemy team, she can provide turn meter boosts to your team, It's all really crazy just what you're going to be able to do with this team, and that's without even Darth Malik in the game, which again, I think we're going to be seeing him very, very soon. Okay, so here's what's going to happen. I need to go ahead and start working on a modding guide for this team, get that out for you guys tomorrow because Darth Revan is coming, and there's some interesting things I think to break down with this team. It's not a necessarily unique modding situation, but I do think that with some of the bonuses and everything here, you're going to have some interesting ways to mod this team. So I'm going to go ahead and work on that. I'm going to wrap up this video now, work on that, get that out for you guys hopefully tomorrow. And tomorrow night, I'm going to go ahead and live stream, hopefully, with some unlocking Darth Revan. And I do have a test account where the account is pretty stacked. The guy has everything with year 12 on it. He's letting me borrow it for a couple weeks while he's on leave with some stuff. So I'll be able to test out everything with Darth Revan and his kit. And we've got 5 Zetas on that account currently, so I can put some prejudicial, or I have a pretty judicious use of Zetas for that account with Darth Revan and his team. So that's going to be it for this video, guys. Let me know what you guys think. Sorry for geeking out there towards the end and going crazy. Yeah, there's a lot to break down here, and this is going to be a very fun next week or two as we break down everything with Darth Revan, so get ready for that. As always, guys, feel free to like, share, and subscribe. I hope you guys have enjoyed this video. As always, guys, thank you so much for watching, and I will talk to you guys later.